Good day, students. First things first, none of you block that. Guaranteed, 100%, none of you block that. Second things first, I'm going to go over Sub-Zero today. We're going to talk about why this character is such a menace. He's definitely a menace. Like, he ruins the game for so many people, and it's great. So, yeah, he's like a quick breakdown of what he is. He's got pretty much everything you want in a character, except for a fast mid, but he's got a workaround for that, and a command grab. Everything else, he's basically the perfect MK11 character, and I feel like he was designed, like the game was designed around him. Like that's what I mean by he has everything. Like, got good crushing blows. He's got the throw system is clearly based on like how he was made. He's got every form of offense you can ask for that exists in the game other than a command grab, but that doesn't really matter when you take a look at what he's got. So yeah, let's have a look, break him down, see what's going on. As you can see, it's nice and blue in here for that as well. So let's do this, yeah, for the Lin-Kuei. So, as you can see, Sub-Zero's moves list, relatively small, but got uses for nearly everything on this list except for maybe 4-2-4 and 3-3, and even then 4-2-4 is a crush and blow attached to it, so it does have kind of a use if you want to like show off. But we'll break down each move and their purpose. Okay, so we'll start off with 1-2. Okay, 8 frame high mid, it's plus 18 on hit, so that means you get dash up back 3, which is a low, or dash up forward 2, which is an overhead. Alright, both of these, the low confirms into ice ball, and the overhead you can just get into ice ball or rising ice or slide or whatever you want to do with it. You can also do dash up grab if you can actually dash up correctly. Yeah, dash up grab. So it puts them in a three-way guess just for getting hit by that. And the reason they get hit by this is you've been throwing them a lot, and then you do 1-2 at the same time and you'd have done the throw. The 2 will hit them if they're trying to tech the throw. It's an auto shimmy. So it's a pretty potent string. On block, it puts you in Sub's optimal range. 0 on block, so neither of you has the advantage. But if they press something like down 1, they can get whiff punished. Hold on, let's just record this and prove my point. So down 1, alright. And then we put her on reversal. She down 1, she gets whiff punished. Boom. So that's pretty good there. If they jump, so call her to jump in that scenario. So I'm going to do 1-2, she's going to jump. I'm going to do 1-2, she's going to jump, and I'm going to anti-air, see? So it puts you in a good range to do a lot of things. If they back up, you can do dash up, back 1. There's plenty of options after this. Or you could just do, which is probably the wisest thing that no one's really ever going to do, is nothing. Because when you do nothing, and they do something, they're showing you their hand while you're showing them nothing, literally. So that's not worth keeping in mind. Or they could like advance, dash up on you. So like if they dash up on you, you can just do it again. There's plenty of options off of just this one string. This is a really good jab string, and it also confirms into ice ball, so you get a combo, no bar. So yeah, really good string. Not really much bad to say about that string. The only bad thing about this string, right, and it doesn't actually really matter, is that if you finish someone, like you kill someone, say you do 1-2 ice ball and they die in that scenario, you can't like do this and then get a brutality. Fix your game, never we need brutality off 1-2. Alright, okay, but yeah, that's 1-2 for you. So Sub has another jab string, comes out at the same speed, 8 frames, 2, alright, 2-1, boom boom. It's got a few differences to 1-2, right? It's easier to confirm into ice ball, so I'll show you that it still does the same thing essentially, confirm into ice ball, but it scales less. See how that did 169? If you did the same thing off of 1-2, you get 159. So that means you want to use 2-1 as your jab punisher over your 1-2. It also means that you can, I'll show you what I'm talking about with rising ice. You can confirm 2-1 into rising ice, but you can't do that off of 1-2. So say you're playing a rising ice variation, you get this, blah blah blah, bang bang, whatever. But if you're using 1-2, it will miss. So you want to use 2-1 in these scenarios as well. Also, the 2 section of the string is probably one of the best anti-airs. Like, this is one of my favorite anti-airs in the game. It just seems to work right against everything. So yeah, easy anti-air, easy combo. Get to load up crushing blows, stuff like that. So yeah, 2 really good string for anti-air. Is also the string you want to use to convert it into Rising Ice, also your Punisher. So, the other thing I'm going to say is, like, you know how I was saying that 1-2 won't finish the game into Brutality? This is the one that will finish the game into Brutality. So you want to do 2-1 into whatever your Brutality is, so it's like that, okay? So just keep that in mind. Trying to brutal someone, don't do 1-2, do 2-1. Very important. Right, next string, back 1-4-3. Starts with a high. Jails into Creeping Ice. So you're basically out for taking your turn if it's blocked. It's confirmable, like confirm the first 2 hits straight into Ice Ball. Just like everything with Sub-Zero, it's always going to be 2 hits straight into Ice Ball, like 1-2, 2-1, back 3-2, back 1-4. They're all confirmable into Ice Ball. So yeah, you get that. The downside to this move is if someone knows that it's coming, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Say they do that, you can actually duck it and just like murder them for it. So be careful of throwing it out too predictably. But it's still a good whiff punisher in its own right, because let's see, Cetrion here has a phantom hitbox on her 1-1, so that makes her really hard to whiff punish. Should just do the reversal. Do the reversal correctly, please. Let's smash out these ones. Okay. Okay, do the reversal. So, see how this 1-1, it's going to hit me really fast. So it hits you like ridiculously fast. You're not even touching you, but it's like the little flash which is throwing that hits you. Yeah? Normally, that's really hard to hit if you're physically putting yourself in that range. See, I'm trying to back free it. I'm trying to stand on it. I'm definitely not going to be able to get in the range to do any of these things. However, with back 1, I can actually put myself out of range of that and hit her, because the hitbox on this move is disjointed as well. So you want to use this against things like Cetrion's 1-1, Devora's pincery moves, you know, like all the ones where they're not really hitting you with their body, they're hitting you with some sort of weapon or some sort of magic or something like that, you know, something weird. So yeah, it's good with Punisher. Not really too much to say about this string, honestly. It's basically your whiff Punisher. You're gonna get killed if it gets ducked, and if you play Creeping Ice, you can do it straight into Creeping Ice, and you're out. You've taken a turn for free. Yeah, good string for the reason that you use it. Just don't get too overzealous with it. Let's go on to the next string. So the next normal, and I reckon his best normal, is back 3-2-1. So it's -5 on the last hit, -6 on the second hit, and -4 on the first hit. Starts up in 13 frames, so it's unreactable low. It won't hit from round start like your back 1 will. However, because it's a low, it's going to be better at whiff punishing almost everything else that you wouldn't use back 1 for, which is most things. That's why I'm saying it's your main string. You see the distance difference here, like back 3 won't reach from round start, back 1 will. If you take like a tiny step, now back 3 reaches, as you see. So if you have that tiny bit extra like awareness of your spacing, you can use back 3 in so many scenarios that back 1 would also be applicable. Therefore, you're eliminating the risk of them ducking your whiff punish, and you're also, because you're doing back 3, you're conditioning them to block low in a number of scenarios, right? You want them to be blocking low because that opens up his overhead, essentially. Or just the fact that they're blocking, you can grab them. So, yeah, 2 hits, go straight into Ice Ball, just like everything else. Like we were saying, everything is basically 2 hits Ice Ball with him. It also goes into Rising Ice. If they do Creeping Ice off of this, I'll show you what I mean. If they do Creeping Ice off of back 3-2, you can actually jump out of it, so be wary of that. So we're going to record him doing back 3-2, Creeping Ice. Alright, you do that, yeah, you get to jump out into whatever. We go back to where we were. Yeah, you're basically just going to be back freeing people in a million scenarios. It's also really good when you're in a very low minus situation. So we'll use Kung Lao again as an example. Doing forward 4, which is -3, into down 1. So there's a lot of situations that are very low minus and people will mash a poke after it. So we'll do forward 4, down 3. Like if you're late, he's down 3. Like obviously you can down 1 before him here, but down 1ing him here only gives you a down 1. But because you've got back 3, you can whiff punish these things. So creating the space for that poke to whiff, now you've got a more threatening option against these people mashing pokes than just poking yourself. See what I mean? It's dangerous for them to play that game now. Like it's dangerous because this leads to mad damage, and you don't want to get hit by Sub-Zero, because every time you get hit, it's no fun. It snowballs. Like you're building crushing blows, you get an Oki, he's gonna put you in another mix up, and it's gonna be like your 3 hits to dead at any point in the game. So mashing poke, okay, yeah, he's got bad pokes himself, but he's got good backdash and back 3 punishes all of these pokes. So keep that in mind. It's not too wise to keep doing this against a character like that. Okay, so here's some robbery that Sub-Zeros in Combat League are going to do to you, and it's going to be pretty much every Sub-Zero in Combat League is going to try and rob you this way. They're going to do back 3-2, backdash, back 3-2, and what they're hoping for is for you to whip a poke like that and get punished. Sort of like how I was saying with the low minus scenario, but this is minus enough for you to actually be able to get your turn, and he can't do that. You need to have the right button to deal with it, like last bit down 3, down 4. So he can't just do that. So don't feel so bad for getting hit by this. It's normally a matter of timing. So online it becomes a bit more hard, like a bit more difficult to actually counter poke correctly. But just know that you're being robbed when people are doing this. You are actually being robbed. Sorry to tell you. Job's a job and all that, but rob's a rob, mate, so just know that, alright? Or what you could also do is, you know, backdash their backdash, so that they do that and then boom, you get a whiff punish, because they're not actually waiting to see you whiff, they're just doing it. So there's another answer for that. It could save you, it could make them look foolish, you know. If they're going to throw out that second back 3, essentially you can play that game against them. So let's carry on onto his next moves. Right, our next move that I know you did not just block is forward 2. 90 frames overhead. Some say it's reactable, but I've only ever met maybe 2 players that can actually react to it. And even then, if you can react to it, it doesn't matter, because it opens up so many other avenues that other characters don't have as a result. So what's so strong about it? Okay, it leads into mad damage. It's obviously high risk if you want the damage. So it's 30 for 1 bar. You can also end in 1-2-4 crushing blow for like 37. You also, right, this is what I think makes it one of the strongest moves in the game. So the way people defend in this game is by basically crouching and mashing block at various timings, right? So they avoid the throw and they still block the strike. See what I'm doing? Alright, and there's nothing that will beat this other than either perfectly timing a mid, which is more like you have to be more on point than you would be than doing something like forward 2, right? So let's do this the other way around. We get sub to do that, or to do that, right? You can't defend against both of these the same way, so you have to commit to an option. So we're going to get him to play back randomly. I'm going to try it. See, look, in that same time, I'm avoiding the grab, but I can't avoid the overhead. And what that means is, now people are forced to stand up. And when you're forced to stand block in this game, now the grab becomes free. This is what makes the overhead so powerful. And this is what makes Sub-Zero powerful as a result. You also have a low. Like, even if you didn't have the low, I think this would still work in the rules of this game, because of the way people defend so frequently by just micro duck everywhere, duck everywhere. It doesn't even matter if they're throwing, they might be throwing out a high and they might be duck your high or whatever. So just Just overhead them. It's such a strong move against everyone, and the more people micro duck, the worse it becomes for them, because you're now just saying, alright, micro duck, you lose 30% for micro ducking. And another character, like say Kung Lao, you micro duck Kung Lao, you block his string, okay, you blocked his string and you duck the grab. So it's a relatively low skill defense with a massive payoff, but now you've got a low skill offense with a massive payoff that beats it. So this is why the overhead is potent. And on top of that, it links into all of his specials, so you can build stuff as low. You only ever need 2 slides, so like you could literally just get overhead slide and then overhead slide, and now you got a low loaded. Yeah, it's overall a really scummy move. People hate it because they're trying to defend in a very autopilot manner, but now you've got the anti-autopilot. This move will hit more than 50% because people are blocking and micro ducking all game. One of the biggest issues in the game is solved by an overhead. Like, so yeah, I'd say you can actually be relatively liberal with this, because the risk is actually on them to not block it, right? So let's say, right, okay, you blocked my overhead, okay, I might take some damage, but most of the time, what character is like even doing 37% off of this? Right, see what I'm saying? Like, off their punish, 37%. So the risk is, who's really at risk here? Are you at risk for ducking, or am I at risk for doing something unsafe? But really, your defense is now unsafe. So that's my philosophy behind it, at least. So you're risking more by trying to avoid it. And also it catches jumps, like, see, like if you catch a mid-air, you can still confirm into like something like that. Things, so it's not even like you can squirm out of it. It's like you have to be stand blocking. That's the thing. You have to be stand blocking to defend it most of these times. If you ain't stand blocking, you're just getting rinsed. And then therefore, if you are stand blocking, now everything that is in his offensive repertoire is open to you. So yeah, think of the overhead as the anti MK11 normal. It's gonna bring some people some trouble. Sub-Zero has the perfect MK11 throw game without even having a command grab, right? So forward throw plus 22 gives you mad OK, gives you whatever you want. Forward 2, back 3, literally whatever you want you can do. So just throw them again, like that's, throw them once, throw them twice, throw them twice, throw them 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Just, as long as they're willing to take a forward throw, you keep doing it. And like I was saying earlier, it synergizes with his overhead, because they're going to start micro ducking, and then you get 3 overheads. So the throw and the overhead is just as much of a 50-50 as the low and the overhead. So it becomes potent in all directions. And on top of that, his back throw is a crash and blow. So like you get one, they try and tech that, like, the one time they try and tech because they're scared of like micro ducking or whatever, and you throw him backwards, and now they've got an escape failed on him. You, like, if he gets an escape failed on you, you're in so much trouble, because these crush and blows are insane, but we'll go over them soon. So yeah, get crush and blow on the back throw. It doesn't give you Oki, but it's like, it makes more sense to take the forward throw, if you know what I mean. So therefore it makes more sense that you would end up getting a crush and blow back throw. He also, because 1-2 is an auto shimmy, this links into his throw game as well. So you've got multiple options to throw them, and also deal with the options that beat the throw. So you have overhead that beats micro duck, and you have 1-2 that beats the tech, and you also have lows if they just legit not blocking as well, and if they're trying to jump, you've got anti-airs. There's so many things you can do, but just between the throw and the overhead, the throw game is nasty. So yeah, and the fact that he's got crush and blow, sweet throw game, cannot fault it at all. This is what I'm saying. I think the game is based around him, because it's just too perfect to not be based around him. So yeah, his throw game, yeah, it's top tier. Okay, Sub-Zero's crush and blows, best in the game in my opinion. Slide, links off of everything, ends his combos, whatever. You do 2 EX slides, to load the crushing blow, and the third one to spend it. But the thing is, you want to, whatever 2 hits you get first in the game, build the slide. You have to do it. You have to build it first, and you also have to spend this crushing blow last, right? And the reason for that is you have other crushing blows that will deplete their life, and the slide is the most likely to punish them in, and it's basically just the best closeout crushing blow you can ask for, I feel. So the other crushing blow he has is 1, 2, 4. So say it comes up in combo, there's 8 hits, so you can do that 1, 2, 4 crushing blow, and that is the one you want to spend first. So you wait until the 2nd or 3rd round and you spend the 1, 2, 4 first. So that's taken, like, if you're doing the right combos, it's taking like 30, between like 37, 40-ish, depending on where you hit them. In the corner, it's doing like nearly 50. And then you spend the slide last, because it's gonna, let's say you've got them in the corner, it will throw them out the corner. You don't want to be doing that. Or if you've got a punish from a longer distance, it's good for that. And the other crushing blow you have that you're going to see a lot of is throw. Well, some of is throw. So yeah, if you've got throw, I'd just say spend that whenever. It doesn't really matter so much. But the other 2 you kind of have to spend in order, I feel. He does have crushing blow on forward 2, 4 when this hits as a counter, but that's more like if you bait an up 3 or something. It's a risky play to make just to throw this out. And he's also got forward 4 into forward 4. That's a crushing blow as well. Both of these are like, if you just trying to make them look a bit of a fool, if they're making themselves look a fool. But yeah, subs crushing blows, best in the game. They do ridiculous damage. Go watch Sikander play sub. He's doing mad damage with all these. So yeah, go steal his combos or something. I can't do a combo, so you know. Right, subs ice ball, one of the best projectiles in the game. It's going to win trades against pretty much anything. Very few that will win in that scenario. Maybe like Shao Kahn's spear and a few others. So even low projectile, like low profiling projectiles like Cassie's gun, Sindel's screen will lose in a trade to this from full screen. So like he still gets to dash up a combo. He also has EX Ice Ball, which will just blast straight through their projectile. But once you know the timings of which you can shoot an ice ball, the EX Ice Ball becomes kind of pointless because you will know where the trade is and the range that you can take the trade. And the only way this is better, I feel, is that if it would save you from dying. But even then, like if you're against Sub-Zero, you need to learn how to shoot against him as well, like how to shoot a projectile against him. So like you want to typically shoot second against him once he's given you the opportunity to do so. So I'll show you an example of what I mean. So let's say you're against Sub-Zero from here and he does like Ice Ball, EX Ice Ball, right? Here you get to shoot him. So the EX Ice Ball is irrelevant at that point. But there is another aspect to this game. So like you can't do that to him, but he could do slide as a punish to something like Cassie's gun from that range. So like that. Alright, yeah, do that. So from there, that's a punish. So the slide and the ice ball kind of work together. Like the ice ball can't be done back to back in certain ranges, but in these ranges, slide normally punishes the projectiles that would beat that the second ice ball. So, and this of course loads crushing blows. So slide. Let's talk about the slide. God tier move. Like you're gonna get YOLO subs sliding at you all day. Like this is the applications of it are Punisher, or if they're walking back. So like if they're walking back, they can't protect their feet, so you get a slide. High risk maneuver. But sometimes it might even be worth it because you can load the crushing blow, which is like maximum value for Sub-Zero. So you know sometimes you can justify it, or if it's like to be a real scumbag and close out a game, you never know. Yeah, that's the slide and the ice ball. Next, I'll talk about like the two variations that people. Okay, so to accompany EX Ice Ball, a lot of people will say Creeping Ice, right? So you've got your safe and you got your unsafe combo starter, and you got your safe like block. Like you do this on if you don't know they're gonna get hit, or you want to do it on block, right? The problem with Creeping Ice though is Okay, it's +6 on hit. The EX will push back into a range where you're both back in neutral. +6 on hit. But this is basically the same thing as it being blocked, because you can't actually follow up with too much, like, reliably here. Your +6, I'll show you. Your +6, back 1 won't reach, back 3 won't reach, and down 4 won't reach. So to get anything to reach, you've got to dash up. And then in doing so, you've spent your +6 on the dash and not the normal. So I'll show you from Aaron's perspective. So we get sub to do like back 3-2, creeping ice, dash out, down 4, right? You could theoretically just mash on him here to do that. So keep that in mind. Or whatever, you know, you backdash out of the follow up. There's plenty you can do. Yeah, down 4, you know, see what I'm saying? Like, Sub-Zero players will try and take liberties. They'll do things like forward 2 creeping up, forward 2 creeping up, forward 2 creeping up. They don't get to do this. They don't get to do this. But because people are getting hit by it, they think it's one of those like situations where people are getting hit and they do just respect it and they don't have to as much. But yeah, that's worth keeping in mind, because creeping ice is, I don't think it's that great, when really if you want to be safe on your overhead, you can just do forward 2 by itself. Like that's the way to check if they're crouching or not and still be safe. And also some characters can punish creeping ice if he does it off of like certain strings. So you got back 1 4 3 creeping ice EX, yeah. Okay, so he's doing creeping ice EX. I'm pretty sure everyone can just forward 3 out of this if I time it right. Or not. There we go, boom. So if you time it right, you can just forward 3 out of it. So some characters can jump out of it, like Lau can jump out of the EX, etc. Jump out of it, so it's worth looking into if your character can do something about it. If not, there's always the flawless block gap that maybe your character can do. Depends. There's various options for it. But ultimately, I don't really feel like creeping ice is that threatening. It's not the most dangerous part of Sub-Zero. Other special moves you'll see. Rising ice. Alright, this is the one that gives him the big damage. This is the one that makes him like he's rinsing half your life bar off of certain conversions. One I like in particular is the ice wall. Don't really see anyone else use this, but I'll explain why this is actually good. So you see how people take the EX ice ball because they want to break through someone's projectile. Well, this essentially does the same thing, but for no bar. So you can take Katana's low fan, right? So you do that on block, and it becomes plus from a certain distance, and then you get trades where you would normally not get a trade. See? So now the game becomes, I'm going to throw the wall, and if you dare throw a projectile behind it, and I happen to throw the ice ball after the wall, you get frozen. So then the game becomes, okay, I get an ice ball, and you don't want to throw a projectile because you might get frozen because I might throw the ice ball. So I get another ice ball, and the further away you are, the more plus it is, so that the more likely you are to trade. So this, you're going to be using this more from full screen anyway, because like the closer you are, the worse it becomes. But this has synergy with the axe. So once you're in the range where this becomes less effective, the axe now all of a sudden becomes like massively effective. So and vice versa, because the axe is no good from like here. You can't hit anything with the axe from here. But as you can see, the wall is perfect from here, and it gives you the ice ball game. So I think these two together deal with like one minor weakness Sub has, is not being able to chip out without taking some kind of risk to get in to deal that chip when you're obviously within chip territories. But now with this, you can play a projectile game with him, and if they want to get frozen, they can get frozen. If they want to come in towards the axe, they can come in towards the axe. And there's also a little game you can play with the axe. So like the further down, like on their body, like say they block it at their toes, it becomes 0. You can make it plus. See, it's +3 there. So if you can hit it like +5 there. You can hit it there. You can also maybe get trades. And if people start advancing afterwards, so let's be Katana and show you what I mean. So we got sub, and he's gonna do that into that. Right? So if people start advancing, you can actually stick something out, and they'll walk into it because they're trying to occupy, like think that they can swing on you when really they can't. So people will walk into that. Another thing people will do is like the same principle, like you can do that, and then they'll walk into something like an overhead, trying to get in. So it gives you options, like you can walk into lows, overheads, trying to come in, and then when that happens and they're starting to get wary of it, you just start doing axe, axe, axe. And our Russians laugh in Twitch at axe, 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 axe. That's what you're doing. Axe, 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 axe. Yeah, you're acting all over the place, and then say the axe hits. All right, let's do the axe on hit. Oh wait, switch to sub. Alright, okay, yeah, axe on hit. Right, switch to sub. Don't record. There we go. Axe on hit is +20. So if you hit it from this, you can get overheads. If you got the right movement, there you go. You can get lows, get overheads, you can get another axe, things like that. The axe is actually really good. It's also good for chipping out, like I was saying earlier, combined with this. So yeah, he's got a legit projectile game. People just don't really use it. Yeah, sub's just nasty. Like there's this, having these two projectiles now means that there's no part of the screen where Sub-Zero isn't gonna probably beat you in damage on or trades or something like that. So yeah, all of this combined makes Sub-Zero so nasty. Final thing to talk about this is a win button. That's pretty much it. That's a win button. Okay, so yeah, that's my perspective on Sub. He's nasty. Like, there's not many matchups he's going to lose in this game. And even if he has a hard time, he can still rob you because he does mad damage. He's got such good offensive options. He's always in the game. You know how I said Katana, as long as she's alive, she has the chance to win. As long as Sub is alive, you have the chance to lose. All right, so just keep that in mind. He ain't playing no games. All right, so if you like the video, feel free to subscribe. If you don't like the video, feel free to subscribe. If you're anywhere in between, yeah, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching. Shout out some sub players you can watch. Sikander. I know K7 was pretty good. K7 Show Off was a good sub when he played. Mighty Unjust plays sub. King Gambler plays sub now. I play sub a lot on my stream. Basically, everyone's got a sub. I think Sikander will probably be the one you want to watch most of. Yeah, thank you again. Appreciate you all being here, and let me know. Like, just give us a comment about who maybe you'd want to see next. I mean, there's plenty of characters left to do, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.